Hey folks, it's Nick with Bootstrap Farmer. There's a couple of things that happened this week. Number one, we sent out an email about our up-potting video that we put out a few months ago, and I want to read you a comment that came through. I plan on selling these plants to friends, but I don't want to give away my expensive pots. Do you have suggestions for what I can transfer into so that they're ready to sell? When you charge $4 per start, it's really hard to make any money off these guys. You factor in the time, electricity, heat mats, seed starting mix, cocoa core, pots, and it adds up quick, making me wonder if this can be profitable on a small scale. I'd appreciate any tips you have. So there's a few things I want to dial in on right away. Number one is that we're trying to sell to friends. Number two is that we're looking for more ways to spend labor and sourcing time on disposable pots. And number three, that we have this number at $4 a piece that I really don't know where that's coming from. I do like that we discussed all of our inputs and we were considering our labor and all the things like that. But $4 a pot is really kind of where prices were about 10 years ago. So if we're taking a look at what our perceived competition is, and we go to one of the big box stores, from coast to coast, an early girl 4-inch pot, a 2-pack is selling $14.39. That's $7.20 per pot. Now, this isn't just some random place. This is a national chain that's competing with other national chains. These prices are right in line with what the market is bearing right this second for mass market appeal. And if we start talking about local and people going out of their way to support local farmers, which is very much the case in that, hey, it's a Saturday, our clients are going to take off, they're going to drive to the farmer's market, and they're going to deal with a lot of the inconveniences that it takes to support small local farms and growers. These people are actively searching you out and they're wanting to buy something great. They're wanting to buy something for them. They're not necessarily shopping on price. So let's talk through a few of these things and get an idea of how you can switch your mindset from going, I don't want to sell my expensive pots because I'm only making $4, because you have the choice to decide on how much you're selling for. So let's take a look. There's a lot of variables to take in mind. There's the fixed cost of the heat mats, the benches, the infrastructure that they're actually using to start their plants on. Like for instance, us, we have heat mats behind us, we have lights, we have some circulation fans, we have this planting table, seeds for the tomato plants that we're transplanting today, the dirt, the perlite that I like to put on top, and some of you are going to tell me I put on too much, but it's my tomatoes. And the other things that we can consider is any nutrients that we may use, any type of water that we're going to have. These are all costs that are going to be a variable situation. So if we're taking that under consideration, we're going ahead and giving ourselves a time value or an employee value of what that would cost. All of these factor in. But because we really don't know where that $4 number came from, I'm going to just stay on that and say that one of these pots, is this worth $4? Okay, so right now I want to compare some pot cost so we can evaluate some of our variable cost. Again, I'm going through this exercise, going ahead and thinking that this is going to be the final product that you deliver to your clients, or maybe the 3-inch pot, or maybe a 5-inch pot. This solo cup is 9 cents when bought in a 50-pack at the biggest blue box store in the world. If you bought the lowest quantity of these pots from us in a 40-pack, they're basically 42 cents a piece. If we move up to the 3.3-inch pot, they're $1.38 a piece. And then the 5-inch pot from Bootstrap Farmer comes in at about $1.92. But that's a little bit of a false number because that price does include 5 inserts that are going to sit in the bottom of the tray. And part of that appeal is the ability to take this to the market and not have a bunch of tilted over solo cups in which we lost our crops. The same thing can be said for the insert that holds our 2.5-inch cups and the insert that holds the 3.3-inch cups together. There's a reason that so many farmers choose Bootstrap Farmer. It's quality, it's consistency, it's heavy duty, and we're not throwing things back up into the landfill. So when you take this solo cup and you give it to a client, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a nice presentation, knowing that you're supporting a farmer and that farmer's values, or would you rather have junk that we're going to throw away? One thing to consider is, as small growers and small farmers, we tend to be a very frugal bunch. And I know that this is an upfront investment for a lot of folks, but think about what this is going to equate to at the back end. Just like you want something nice, your clients are likely to want something nice instead of just some disposable thing. So if we start to look at ratcheting our prices up from that $4 cup to perhaps even close to that $7.20 that the big chains are doing, which is more than likely where we should be, if not more, then we start thinking about presentation and what those people are actually getting. When you get something like this, that means that that farmer has gone the extra mile. They're planting for you. They're not giving you some run-of-the-mill tomato that may or may not be great for that area. I mean, if early girls are in big box stores or sold in Los Angeles and Paris, Texas, and on the East Coast, there's no way that that's going to be universally the best choice for the local market. Before I get into a few examples of things to help you level up your prices, I want to give you one more story that happened this morning. I go to the Big Blue store, as mentioned above, and I'm trying to get this potting mix. Well, I'm there early in the morning. We're all early risers. And I walk inside, I get my buggy, I go to the garden center. There's no Pro Mix. It's out in the parking lot. All the doors are locked. I have to go back around the building. I go out to the parking lot. I load up my own cart. I go to self-checkout. I pay for it. I ring it up. And then I go and load it up. And then I take the cart back. So basically, I put in a full 1 hour shift at the Big Blue store without any human interaction. Nor did I want any, but that's not what your people are trying to do whenever they're supporting local. They want to know that, hey, you took all these plants into consideration, you're growing it for them, you went ahead and started the seeds correctly, you're up potting, and perhaps you're giving them a much bigger and better plant than what they could get at some of these home centers. So if we're thinking about the experience I had this morning, in which I had to do all the work myself and not support local versus going to somewhere that actually had Pro Mix and I was able to talk through it, maybe have a little bit better selection. If I had the choice in this small town, I certainly would have. And that's exactly what you're trying to do whenever you're up potting better starts for your local clients. So the very first thing that you can do to take this from a $4 cup into a $5 and $6 transplant is you have to over deliver. As small farmers, it's nice to play that small town charm and all that kind of thing, but you're a craftsman, you're a professional, you have to deliver. If you say that these things are going to be ready on a certain time, that means that months ago that you selected your seeds, you made a plan, you told your people what you're up to, and you got them to enroll in social media, and hopefully they've prepaid for these things because they've ordered them, and you're not just starting seeds in the hopes of selling, and that we're pre-selling based off of what is going to be best for those clients. But when it comes time to deliver, they have to be the best, meaning a little bit of buffer, a little bit of insurance on your side. Maybe we start them a week early. Maybe we start a few extra ones that in case those people that didn't pre-order, they want some, you either have some for them or you have some for your own. Using adjectives like custom grown, boutique grown, perfectly planted, all of these are key indicators that you're doing something extra for your client that they're never going to hear about in these big box stores. And it's all in that relationship building that should have started months ago. And that's tip number 2. That means we're telling our story. We're making sure that people know what town we're in and what town we're servicing and where and how they can support you, whether that's a farmer's market, a CSA, direct to consumer, or maybe a little farm stand. They know, hey, they started these plants for us long ago. They've already committed. They've already hopefully purchased from you. And now all they're doing is waiting for the perfect time for you to deliver these and giving them some information in which they know how to plant and care for their plant after the fact. Again, that's not something you're ever going to get at a big box store. Number 3, right now, get it out of your head that you're competing with any big box store, any nursery, or even another farmer for that matter. All of these different places, all of these different people have a different economy of scale. In the next video that we have on our Bootstrap Farmer Market Gardener channel, I'm going to go into detail on how Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, any big box store leverages their outside relationships with their vendors to really, really make it hard for anybody to make any money, especially at the local level. I'm talking about local farms, anybody else doing this as a side hustle, or even a small local nursery that is in the same town as some of these big box stores. Number 4, I want you to go into this not worried so much about beating everybody to the bottom on price. I want you to think about, how can I over deliver at my local market and signal out there to all the other vendors that we're not just selling the lowest thing possible or trying to cheap out. If we all rose our prices up tomorrow and probably got back to where we should have been years ago, that means that everybody at the market is leveling up, they're all making more profit, and they're all going to be able to stay in business for the next year. So whenever you're planting something out and trying to sell it for the lowest possible denominator on a number that's, to me, a little bit arbitrary, that, hey, I want to sell these for an X amount versus what does this actually take versus what can I do to make this a better experience for the clients. You start outperforming yourself and doing better for yourself and better for your clients. Other vendors are going to notice, they're going to get better. And now hopefully we have a nice friendly competition at the market or at the local economy in which we can all get better and all make more money. The 5th tip is to go ahead and listen to your market. Maybe they want tomatoes, maybe they don't, maybe they want a different kind of start from you. If you specialize in peppers or something like that, you can really come to the market giving a different level of peppers and professionalism that you're not going to get at any of the big box stores. You're talking about jalapenos, occasionally a Carolina Reaper, a bunch of Anaheims, a bunch of Poblanos. It's super boring. So if that's one of your specialties, lean into that and have more peppers. But just make sure that people understand the difference of what you're trying to do through that education and through telling that story. But you really have an opportunity to just break free of the normal kind of boring vegetables out there that everybody has and everybody sees. Not that that doesn't have value, because there's a reason they put those out, but you also have an addition to add on to that and really set yourself apart from anybody else. The next thing I want you to think about, and we've already kind of covered it, but really taking a look at what's a fixed cost, what's a variable cost, what's my time involvement, what is my marketing budget, what is my delivery schedule, where are these people going to meet. All of these things affect the bottom line price. All of these things should help you feel a little bit better about charging more than $4 for a start. The next tip is to go ahead and spy on these big box stores. How are they doing their marketing? When are they putting their sales ads up? What condition do their pots look like? You can't really tell the difference to your clients if you haven't gone and experienced it for yourself. So you can go, yeah, it's a 4-inch cup, but it's a very tiny transplant, or you can tell that they just transplanted that in. Maybe they're dry, maybe they're watered, maybe they've been abused. All of these things happen at these big box stores. Not that they are not also under care, but because it's in such mass, you really have less quality control than what you can do at home. But these people have spent millions, if not billions of dollars in marketing and sales tactics. Go see how things are set up and see if it makes sense to you, and kind of steal from everybody. Use all these different ideas to make your market a little bit better. The next tip is, I really want you to listen to what I said a minute ago, that for $7.20, this is what the biggest national home retailer hardware store has their current tomato prices at. This is spring of 2024. $7.20 is what really the cheapest tomato plant out there available for the public to get. So if that's where we're starting from and you're already $3.20 lower than that, that means we're leaving a lot of margin on the table. So really take a look at how prices have changed. Everything has gone through the roof. Transportation's up, fuel is up, plastic cost is up, shipping bag goods across the country, shipping live plants. All of this is very expensive. All of those big box stores have adjusted their prices accordingly and to where they can still stay competitive. And I really don't like sitting here and saying, hey, this is the price you need to be. But it is kind of a starting point if you're going to be going into this from a price conscious, or at least I know where the competition is standing. The next and final point, and this kind of goes back to one of the original things said in the question, is I don't want to give away my expensive pots. If this is your packaging and this is kind of your guarantee and gold standard and going, look what I've done for you and how much better it is, and we're setting ourselves apart, you don't necessarily have to give it away. You're baking that into the price of what you're selling, meaning instead of $4, maybe this is $5, $6, $7, or $8. That choice is going to be up to you. But just know that a lot of our farmers that use these reusable pots, they'll have their customers put up a deposit, and they'll either bring them back or they'll use them in their own home garden. This is not an investment that you're going to throw away. This is an investment into your branding and your commitment to your clients. Tacking on your packaging price is something that everybody does. So go ahead and you're not giving it away. You're taking something at this level at $1.92 extra, and maybe you're putting an extra $2 or $3 on there, making a little bit of money. Maybe you're just selling it for what it is, but that should not be a loss for you. So when we started this morning transplanting from these 72 cells up into these bigger pots and deciding where they're going to go, we're adding value to this crop. And so if you can take a 72 cell tray and turn it into 72 2-inch pots at $4 a piece, that means that 72 cell tray should bring in about $288 worth of revenue to your farm. So at $288, you can't tell me that you can't make up the 33-cent difference between a 9-cent solo cup and a 42-cent cup like this, which tells your client how much better of a grower you are and that you did something for them. So on the similar lines, if we take the 3.3-inch cups, that's $504 worth of revenue from a 72 cell tray. And if we sold the 5-inch transplants at $8, that's going to bring in $576 worth of revenue. So at each step, you're just adding $1 to the cup, and that right there is showing you how much more you can make by up potting and taking a little bit of extra care and having a better presentation. Remember, your prices are for you and your clients based off of their wants and your needs to continue to stay in business. You're not competing against any of the big box stores. You're not competing against your next door neighbor farmer. You're competing against basically yourself and your process and your efficiencies and your relationship that you're building with the clients. So let's not worry about throwing away money by using better pots. Let's keep these pots out of the landfill. Let's keep your clients happy. And let's raise the value of these plants and these transplants in this season as people are actively looking to support local and to have better food. So this is a little bit different video that we've done as of late, but I know this is what is going through your mind as we're in transplant season, as the farmers markets are fixing to come into play, and you're going to have to transplant very efficiently things from your farm to the market. Those little solo cups are going to spill over. They're not efficient. Look at how much you can put in some of these trays and think, do you want to put your best foot forward and show that you really can go the extra mile and that you deserve a better price? I think you can. So if you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe, share it with some of your friends. And I know from a lot of farmers that they have, they don't want to raise prices. Nobody wants to raise prices. They're worried about what you think. If you've rose your prices before, please leave a comment to encourage your fellow growers that you're not going to lose clients. In some instances, they actually thank you for raising the prices because they felt that you've been undervalued for so long. I've heard it 1,000 times. So please leave those comments, encourage your fellow growers. If you want to learn more about how big box stores basically leverage every single bit, check out our Market Gardener channel, in which I'm going to discuss that today. So we'll see you next week. Thanks again.